to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so has everyone had a chance to read through the minutes from August 1st? If so, I'm looking for a motion. Okay, Michelle
Second.
and Neil. Discussion? All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, so Randy couldn't be with us tonight, so I have his report. The highway, the shoulders on Gilman Town Road have been completed this past week. The dead trees in the old section of Fish Mountain Cemetery have been cut down by Kevin Elkin and at no charge.
Oh,
He
nice.
said absolutely would not charge for
He's
that.
the best.
He is the best, so anybody sees him, thank him. Last week we had some that were paving with the county. They ditched Golf Course Road. And then we're on to buildings. The siding on Town Hall and the bus barn have been pressure washed. And they pressure washed the highway garage floor and repainted it. So they've been busy beavers. So that's the report. Next is old business. And we're not really discussing this, I'm just gonna fill you in on a couple things, and if Kathy wants to speak, that's fine. The short-term rentals, the committee consists of 7, which are as follows. Town board representative and committee chair is Kathy O'Connell. Village representative is Jeanette Barrett. Realtor/tourism is Christy Wilt. Short-term rental owner is Diana Armstrong, which is great because she owns the Bearhurst and she has to follow Department of Health regulations, but she also owns an Airbnb, one as a rental. A taxpayer with concerns that there are no regulations for Airbnbs or short-term rentals, I should say, Peter Samola. And zoning and codes enforcement, because there's so much involved with that, Bob Bankovich. Attorney Todd Calguire. He's a retired attorney in both New York and New Jersey and has a home on South Shore Road. Diana Armstrong had talked to him and contacted Kathy, and I spoke to him this morning, and he's very willing to sit on the short-term rental committee. Yeah, so I think we're in a good place, and now I'm going to turn it over if Kathy has anything she wants to say.
Once I get Todd's information, I will forward him the webinar that I forwarded to everyone else so far. We're going to call through the policies that you have from other places and see what fits our community, small as it is, and then share those and set a date.
Okay. So then, I mean, do you have any idea? Are you thinking like a meeting once a month, or depending on, you just start it and then you'll play it by ear as information comes in?
Yeah.
And the committee works together. Okay, great. So that's on the road there, going in a positive direction. The senior bus trip. So I just want to let everybody know I went to the senior citizen meeting again last week because I was hearing that there was some confusion about the bus trip contract. So we are still doing 9 trips a year. We have one person from our senior center and one person from Wells Senior Center that will work together and make up the bus schedule for 2023, and they get together in October. So both senior citizen groups will have representation to plan it. The Wells group is very happy with the pre-schedule that goes through December that our seniors did. They don't want to see it changed. They're very content with that. Our seniors do not have to drive to Wells at any time. The bus will come up here, pick them up, and then go back through and pick Wells up and go down. If it's going to Utica Way, they will pick Wells up, come up and pick ours up and go to Utica. So there's no reason, no senior citizens are going to be driving back and forth. I called Brown Bus Company and spoke with Judy, who is ahead of the scheduling and also vouchering with the bills, and explained that Wells and Lake Pleasant have teamed up and both senior centers will be riding the bus together. So she now has the voucher from both towns and she will bill accordingly. Anyone can ride the bus as long as they are 60 plus years of age. It doesn't matter where they live, even if they're out of state. One question that did come up that one of the seniors had, which was a very good question, was what if Wells down the road backed out? And I told him, if that happened, the town of Lake Pleasant, we'll just go back to the way it was and we'll be responsible for all the trips and we'll do all the vouchers and it'd be the same. I had talked to Dee Parks a couple of weeks ago. Dee is from the Office of the Aging. She sets all this up with the grants and the towns. She's very happy to hear that we made this move. And we're really hoping in the future that we will get Arietta to join us. Then each town will budget for 3 trips. And then if there's another trip or something different the seniors all want to do together, we can work that out. It's not just going to be 9 trips and that's it, once we get this moving along. So anyone that is in this program and rides the bus does have to fill out a couple of forms for the Office of the Aging, and Pauline Slack has the forms. So I just wanted it to get out there for the newspaper and everything so everybody knows. So is there any questions on the senior bus trips, the updates or
I'm happy to
anything?
hear about cooperation, and I know, going back many years, the Office of the Aging is happy to hear small communities working together that way.
Yeah, okay. So I'm sorry to say the tennis courts, I have to table that because I really had not gotten a hold of anybody to sit down and talk and go through the paperwork. It's just been a little busy the past 2 weeks, so I promise I will get to that this week and we'll get that moving along.
And the status quo seems to be working well, that goes on.
Yeah, this was for the tennis courts to refurbish them and apply for grants, so we will get that ball rolling. So next, under new, is there any questions at this point so far? Okay. Next, under new business, I sent everybody a copy of the Code of Ethics. I had updated, in case we will be adopting this one, I had put Lake Pleasant in all the important areas that it needed to be. So I guess I want to move this for discussion. Does someone want to move it?
I will.
Okay,
I'll second.
okay, and then let's have a discussion. So there seemed to be some questions, and Faith and myself last Friday went through the files, and we can only find one from June of 2010, and we think there was one updated since. And then Steph looked today on her computer, and again, we only came up with this one.
Yeah, in June of 2010, I had just come on 6 months before,
Okay.
and we addressed this about going along with county.
Okay.
I don't know if it's going to be in minutes close to that, but wherever you found that date will be matching stuff. It didn't seem to me, Frank and I discussed it in the transition, didn't seem to me to be any need for, the state law had adjusted so that towns, cities, and so on could have their own.
Mhm.
But again, it's just making it rather difficult for the towns to go through all of that pro forma to come up with something that's got 2 ands and 3 these that are different than the county, when the county also is the only sitting board of ethics, which is a TRUM represented from all the different towns. So at least in 2010, that was the direction the board chose to go.
Okay, so that's good to know. I did call Laura today, but unfortunately she was out of the office and won't be back till tomorrow, so so then I guess then, is there any further discussion? So is everyone in favor of adopting this one through the county? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay.
And while they're not called to serve very, very often, that board of ethics hasn't changed much in a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
But they're all upstanding people, and as I say, every town, or almost every town is represented on that.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so next I guess I'm looking, committee reports. Kathy?
Yeah.
Michelle?
I went on the youth rec trip last week to Water Safari. It was a pretty good turnout for that trip. Let's see, what was Wednesday last week? Oh, they went to the Wild Center. And that one with the Trailblazers, also fairly well attended.
That's a good trip too,
Yeah.
and not as fun as
Yeah.
the water park, I imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a little on the cool side at the water park. It was surprising.
Oh, that day was?
80 degrees. It was about 10, 15 degrees cooler there than it was here.
Really?
Yeah, overcast, chilly all day. But it was still fun. It was good. Yep.
So that program's done, please.
This week is the last week. Tomorrow is high rollers and Wednesday is the sheriff's boat patrol run.
Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
They do that in conjunction with Trailblazers also. They weren't sure last I spoke to Sam where they were doing the ride. They were thinking either Moffitt's Beach or Long Lake. I'm hoping it's Moffitt's Beach.
Yeah,
Pretty
yeah.
close.
And what did you say before the sheriff's boat patrol one, the other one was this week?
High rollers.
High rollers.
That's a casino, right? Oh, no, the roller skate.
Talking about the youth rec, not the seniors.
Roller skate, who knew?
Seniors never go to it.
Not that we know of. They say Utica.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, Neil, do you have anything that you
I
require?
do, it's a special committee thing. I had what turned out to be 2 conversations with Patrice McMahon from the tour. And by the way, I would say this, I don't recall ever having her offering to do this. She was very understanding of the fact that we are anxious about coverage and trying to letting me know, which obviously tangentially I knew from other sources that there's shortages in a number of the primary care centers the hospital runs because of where we are in work and employees. But that said, she was not ready to divulge anything, particularly on the provider. We had long conversations, including on people she had in the pipeline. But my first, and I think our first concern was about Margie and coverage for out front. Margie, no casting any aspersions on she's going to work really a nice job for the county, so good for her. But Patrice assured me that they have someone in mind that they have already interviewed and that would be seamless. So no names were mentioned as appropriate, but at least on that front, she's working, she said 24/7, that's all she's working on. And she has way more than that as a vice president of the hospital, but trying to get coverage for these places is paramount. So just wanted to make sure, you don't want to be the squeaky wheel when it's time to be the squeaky wheel. So at least for now. I would also put out there just for public consumption that as per the contract with them and as per many, many years of doing business, the primary care center is not an acute care center. There is no walk-in for bleeders or that sort of thing, not because of a lack of compassion from the town or the hospital, but we do not have those people under contract to take care of that. We realize it's a long ride, and of course, if it's really in a bad situation, there's always our ambulance, which is the greatest. But basically, what we have in a primary care center is a doctor's office, and those people who are covered, which are many. She told me that at one point Mike had 1,200 patients in this little area. That's pretty remarkable. I'm trying to think how that would work, but I figured some of them must have been transfers here for summer back to Florida, and then you're off the books for a while. But irrespective of that, they're handling a lot of people with basically 1.5 providers at this point, and as I told her, that's way below what we had negotiated some time back. So they're aware of our concerns, and she sort of allayed my fears a little bit, at least about the front of the house. So that's where we are for now. And I'm sorry, what I meant to say was, Patrice, right off bat, said, look, if the board would like me to come up and make a presentation, I'd be happy to. I said, no, I said, at this point, I'm going to relay exactly what we spoke of, but it's nice to know that, the hospital is thinking that way, that we're one of the very first of those primary cares, other than in the hospital itself. So, yeah, they're short in Mayfield, which Mayfield is our feeder. That's where a lot of our charts go to be reviewed, and they're now short there. So, that's all she could say on the record as far as doctors and names and whatnot, but they're acutely aware.
And I'll just say that I had a meeting with the county health department last week, and she was saying that we were so nervous because we don't have an RN and we're trying to replace all these positions. She said, but they're really lucky because they've replaced all at this point but one RN. And she said, all the other counties around us are just devastated. They can't get anybody to work. She said, so we are really lucky and we're not complaining anymore because we feel very fortunate that we did get the employees that got.
Yeah, it's certainly not a question of laziness or anything.
No.
There just are not enough certified LPNs, nurse practitioners, registered nurses to go around for the needs of the North Country. Not probably the whole country, but we're interested in our own backyard.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that's really pretty good. If you're 90% staffed as a health department these days, you're pretty ahead of the curve.
I mean, we had like 4 openings a month ago and we're down to 1. So, anyway. Okay, Don?
Nothing for committee.
Okay. Okay. So I guess I'm looking for a motion to pay the bills. We have 3 abstracts, one from August 10th, one from August 15th, which was just 1 credit card, and one from August 12th. So looking to approve them all together. Okay. Okay, any discussion?
Wasn't that many bills, it was a lot of money, right? Right.
Yeah. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Shorty, you have anything for public comment?
Off the cuff, off the record, that Todd Callagher, is that one of Bob's boys from backside the lake?
Yes.
That's yours. Good kid.
Yeah, good family.
On the record, as far as the museum goes, we're pretty much running what we did before COVID. We're having a good turnout, mainly on Saturdays. But we're getting people from California. There was a woman there Saturday from Utah.
Nice.
But
Nice.
she was related to some of the Dunhams and Cologne down in Hope, and she was doing research, and it's just been a pretty good summer so far.
Great. That's very good.
Meeting a lot of, the other day, one of Danny Brooks's cousins showed up, and she had all kinds of pictures of Nora Brooks and all that stuff, so.
Young Denny's 80 the other day.
Young Danny's
Well, we used to call Young Denny, now there's a younger Denny.
speculator's oldest kid. He's never grown up.
Thanks after his father.
I'm gonna say Linda probably would agree with you.
Back in the 70s, when he was working through Cedar for the village, I don't know if you remember his top hat and then his tails. He used to collect garbage. He was working on the garbage truck, and that's what he wore. But he had a top hat and tails, and the Niagara Mohawk crew was getting gas down the Downies at one time, and I don't know if it was Denny Coleman from Northville or one of them said, well, I wish I had my camera. And I said, why? I said, look at that guy out there collecting garbage. He's got a top hat and tails, And I said, that's just Danny Brooks, and that's Danny Brooks.
You know, if they have steel-toed boots, I think that should be the new uniform.
Yeah, well, reflective stripe on it.
Yeah, with a-
He said, when I get back to Northville, and I tell people, they ain't gonna believe it, so if I had a picture, I could show.
the old days, in those days, you didn't have a camera hanging off you the way you do now.
No.
Okay,
But
so,
that's all I've got, like I said,
okay,
we're doing pretty good with the museum.
excellent.
Everybody's
Absolutely.
talking about coming back and bringing more people, so.
Great, great. Okay, so we'll go into roundtable. Stephanie, anything?
No, not tonight.
Okay. Kathy? Rochelle? Neil?
Well, I'll just beat the drum again, as long as I'm the bad guy, I want to stay that way. I have made 1 call, so my name would be on the answering machine. But I just got back from a quick run down at G-Bill, and I still feel we should fill, I don't know how many voices go on a voicemail anymore, but we should fill that every single day from folks from anyone who runs Route 30. I know folks out in Pasego may take Route 10, I know I would, but all the folks around here, it's just important at this point that they know that we're, well, displeased, embarrassed in many cases if you're an elected official and they keep asking about it. But I would spread the word to motorcycle groups, of which there are many who come through here. It still remains dangerous. I know, they just don't know how urgent we feel it is.
Mhm.
That's the Indian Lake DOT resident engineer.
I'm at 8:30 thing after the last meeting, and since you mentioned it, Neil, I talked to Lou Burke called on me 2 different times since then, and talked to head of DOT down there, left a message and whatnot, and so we're pushing them, and then.
As usual, Shorty, it's not about what we can bring to bear, because we are so few in number. It's our visitors. Our
Right.
visitors have to, get shoulder to shoulder with us on this.
When Mark Butler was our representative, he said Route 8 and Route 30 were classified scenic byways,
Mhm.
and that they were supposed to receive special attention and stuff like that, and the communities that they went through were allowed to get some little extra annuities or whatever, and none of that stuff ever seemed to materialize. And as far as the road being taken care of, it's one of the worst in the state, and every time they put another patch down there, they're just making it worse.
It is. I'll reach out to Bob Smollen's office again and see what, I haven't heard.
I talked to that Mrs.
I know.
Lincoln over there.
More on that.
Okay.
Oh, good.
I had to go to the doctor today, but before I left, I decided to check into that because I haven't heard anything or seen anything. So online I got to New York State DOT project details. And it's the state Route 8 and 30 overlap to Speculator. Gives you the project number of 2V2221. And it says the bid opening was expected to be in the winter of 21 to 22. Construction is expected to begin spring of 22. Construction is expected to be completed winter 22-23. Project cost I'll just go through this quick. Project cost is $3,300,000. The project receives funding from the following sources: federal and state. So federal is involved in it. So therefore, on the bottom here, it says contact us. If you have any questions, please contact Jim Piccola, and it gives a spell. Region 2 Public Information Officer in Utica. I called the number and I got put on hold 3 different times, transferred to 3 different people, and the final answer I got on that was to call up Dean in Indian Lake, because this is not their job. This number is wrong.
So Jim, what was his last name?
Jim Piccola, Piccola.
And do you have a phone number for him?
The phone number on here is 315
Yeah.
793
Uh-huh.
2447.
447, okay.
And then it gives everybody, politicians, the legislative districts. Since it is federal, I think we should start calling Chucky Schumer's office, Kirsten Gillibrand's office, call it Lease, and then Tedesco and Smollen, because they're all from state down, they're federal down. Because federal is paying for it. And I think Elise, being an election year, she might start pushing on it.
Chuck's up
I know
for
she's
re-election too. Chuck's up for re-election too.
Yeah,
Okay.
but he doesn't care.
Not doing much campaigning, is he?
And we're Republican, I'll just say that. I'm proud of it.
Well, I don't know what percentage the jobs are federal. Certainly, it's not uncommon for a mix of that money.
But yeah, it just says right here.
It can't hurt, yeah, but it doesn't tell you the mix, right?
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that is, but, and it cannot hurt to call Lisa's office for sure. But we need to get somebody to understand that it's dangerous. and
Mhm.
About WTEN.
untenable.
You know, that contract was
TV.
awarded for the spring, and the guy that got it was Hanson. I believe he's out of Albany.
Yep,
And it was supposed to start and be completed before 4th of July
Yep.
weekend.
Well, Randy's reported on this, all along, and I mean, I'm not saying that they're giving him specious information, but clearly, there's a pecking order, and we have continuously been moved down.
Well, I called Dean in Indian Lake.
Yeah.
Dean's a very nice guy.
He is a good guy.
And he said the contracts were awarded, the company that is going to grind the road and roll it is ready to go. But they won't do it because the paving company is not gonna pave this year, and it won't hold up over the winter. So it is where it is.
No sense in stripping it and then leaving it for the winter, that's gonna be worse.
And there are two reasons why I'm pushing this. One is because a rough road like that is dangerous in a snowstorm because they can't scrape it.
Yep.
And number two, when they plow that road and other roads, so they have their salters set on a number,
Right.
and that's what they do, so it doesn't clear that road good.
Yep.
And as we've all seen, it is terrible. Number two is the salt reduction program. A road like that, they have to use a whole lot more salt to clear the snow, so those are 2 points you can use if you're talking to somebody.
Here's open.
I do have something for them.
okay,
That's it for me.
She's not go back.
yep, go ahead. Go ahead, Kathy.
When people are purchasing things locally and get a receipt to turn in for, bills, I think they need to sign it
Yes.
so that we can track where things are.
I'll ask Randy. I'll let Randy know, we've mentioned this once before, and I will let him know about that.
Yeah, that's in the procurement policy. Been a little sloppy.
Anything else, Kath? That's it? Okay. I just have a couple things. Our museum fundraiser is up to thank you, can I have that? Thank you. Is up to $30,549. We received,
It's colored in recently.
yep,
I
we
noticed that
received a
this morning.
$1,000 donation last week.
It jumped up.
Yep. We've received quite a few donations in the past week and a half. Yes. And I just want to mention that Steve has completed his New York State Code Enforcement training, and he is now an official code enforcement
I
officer.
passed that on Facebook.
That's just really great news. And I just have to tell you, he is a pleasure to work with.
Great
He
man.
really is a great person, really enjoying working with him. And I just want to remind everybody that Monday, the 22nd at 1 p.m. at Town Hall, we will be having a special meeting to open bids for the culvert project on Fish Mountain Road. There will be no other business, it's just strictly for the bid process.
What time?
1 o'clock, Monday the 22nd. And then I just want to mention that I received an email from LPSA. Kathy had mentioned to them that the town was going to be starting to work on our budget. So they thought it would be the appropriate time to ask us if the town would continue to approve the $5,000 budget allocation for them in the next year's process, as we have in the past. So I just wanted to mention that. And we certainly, I told them at this time, I do not see a problem, but we'll let them know once we actually finish the budget process, we'll fill them in, or Kathy will. Everybody received a copy of the updated employee handbook. I want to thank everybody, and especially Kathy, who came in today and bound them for us.
Very
And she's coming back tomorrow to
That's a
finish.
trick to do that.
Yeah, for the highway guys. So that's the employee handbook, and I also wanted to mention that the town hall carpet, Anita cleaned it 2 weeks ago, and she re-cleaned it again over the weekend, and it really is looking great, This time of year, because it's on concrete, the moisture comes up and it kind of looks stained all the time, so she's been spending a lot of time on that. Our next regular meeting will be Tuesday, September 6th at 5 p.m. at Town Hall. And I'll make sure I put it in bold, big letters
You did.
on your agenda for the next meeting. Because this is two kind of odd meetings that we're having. But actually, our next regular meeting is 3 weeks, because that's the way it fell. And that's all I have, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn unless
Okay.
anybody has anything else.
I just doubling back on the list for the committee, for Kathy. While I am very much in support of the curmudgeon assignation being Pete Samola, he will be good at it. I'm concerned about seasonality. These things are gonna take time, aren't they? You think you'll be able
If
to
we
do
have
this?
to, we'll do Zoom.
That's what I think. You think that should work, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. if
Somebody
they-
can teach me how to do that.
Well, I mean, I don't know if Town Garden does that, but the rest of these people you can probably get in touch with. But Pete's, nowadays is here for 4 months and
Well,
back.
okay, because, yeah, I kind of thought he wasn't going to Florida anymore.
Oh,
He sold.
I
He sold. He'd
I
rather
heard
be
that, but I
here.
didn't know if that
Yes,
meant he's gonna stay.
I mean, I'm not saying he's not gonna leave here and there, but
Yeah.
he's kind of grounded here.
That's good.
The concern is Todd. He told me that, that he would be not as available in the fall,
Mhm.
but otherwise, he certainly will be. So I don't know if he meant he's going away for a month or something, that I don't know. But again, we can set up Zoom and, because this is a project that's not gonna happen in 3 months.
No.
This is not something that we want everybody to rush and hurry up and do their job or whatever they're in charge of from a committee meeting and hurry up and come back and try to do everybody else's job to get it done.
And it takes
This
looking
is-
at some of the other towns and other, the more consistent you can be with your neighbors, I think that kind of helps in building a
Absolutely.
coalition behind it.
And I know, Indian Lake took about a year.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's nothing that we plan on rushing at, we wanna do it right, we're doing it once, we wanna do it right. So,
Sorry.
no, that's fine. Okay, so I'm looking for a motion to adjourn,
So moved.
okay? Second?
Second is Met game done.
Okay. Is the recorder turned off?
Not yet.